let's look at a slightly different aspect. If you remember, if you have been going through these videos in sequence, we had created a lot of programs. Yes. So in each of these programs, we had written functions. Now, some, if not all, functions may be required in other programs as well. Maybe in some other program also we want to know whether given three sides can form a triangle or not. Similarly, area of the triangle given three sides in some other program. Now, the most straightforward way of doing that would be to copy paste it from here to that program. Now, the problem there is if we find an error in this function or we enhance it by adding some additional aspects, then what would happen is we would have to make changes in all the places where we have copy pasted it. Now, to avoid that kind of a situation, what we could do is create a new Python file. Let's call it as my functions, right? And copy paste this, or rather cut and paste this in my functions, right? Not only that, any import statements relevant to these functions, like say for example here we are using math square root, so that also we have to copy paste it to this file, math import math, right? Now this looks fine. Now let's go back to area of triangle. Now if we run this program, what will happen is we will find a problem. Why? Because one is that the import math that we are doing is not being used at all here in main function, so we can remove it first of all. Second aspect is east triangle function is not there in this, so which means we have to import our my functions, and instead of, we don't want to keep typing my functions, so let's say as mf. Okay. And wherever these functions from that my functions has been called, we explicitly specify mf dot, right? This f1 has got disappeared. Okay. Now another thing is area. So let's say mf dot area. And now if we run this program, let's see what happens. 3, 4, 5. Okay. Let's say 10. F10, that is run. So shift F10. So let's give 3, 4, and 12. Now here itself, there is an error. The sum of any two sides cannot be less than or equal to. That's wrong. Cannot be more than, right? So where is this error message being displayed? It is not here. It is in the function that it is being returned. So cannot be more than the third side. Imagine if we had copy pasted it and later on discovered that this is an error, you would have had to change in all the places, and you have to know where all you have copy pasted. So in the process of doing this, we discovered one error. Okay, so that's a very good example. So perfectly fine. So this program is working. Now let's go back to my functions. Here, since we are going to reuse it, we should make sure that we explicitly specify what type of data is going to be passed. So B should be float and C should also be float. Similarly here, A should be float, B should be float, and C should be float. So whenever we are talking of reusing functions, we have to be a little bit more explicit and be more aware of the fact that this may be used in multiple places. Similarly, let's see. Let's look at circumference and area of a circle. So again, we will copy this two functions, or rather cut it, and let's paste it in this file. And here radius can be float. Here radius can be float. And now let's go back to circumference and area. Again, import math is not required here. And here circumference, this would be what? MF dot circumference and MF dot area. But what is this MF? That also we have to specify. So which means we have to import my functions as MF. Run, edit configuration, let's say circumference and area. And now let's run this. Area of the circle is, let's say, 4. So circumference is this and area is this. So our program still functions perfectly. The biggest advantage now is that I can call these functions from any program. And slowly what you will find is that this my functions file will become bigger and bigger and bigger with lots and lots of functions which can be used across programs. That is one thing. But over a period of time, when it really becomes large, what you might decide, okay, let me categorize these functions, right? So you might actually split it into multiple modules so that only relevant modules can be imported rather than a single module containing all the functions. So that is a very, very big advantage of these modules. I don't know whether you noticed it or not, but you might have noticed that uh, area, there are two functions with the same name, area and area. But still, one was the area of a triangle, the other was the area of circle, right? But still, when we ran the programs, it worked correctly. And the reason why it worked correctly is that when we are calling area with a single parameter, radius, the function which is receiving just one single parameter, that was executed, right? And there it was not there was it specified, let's see, circumference. So here it is a float, right? So the number of parameters is 1 and the type of the data is also matching. So this was executed. Now to avoid this type of conflict, because it might happen that the same set of parameters and the same set of data types are being passed for two different purposes, but the function names are same. So in such cases, you will have to make sure that you name these operations or rename these operations. So area triangle, and here area circle. But now that you have changed here, you have to go back here, and this would be area triangle, right? And similarly go to circumference, and here you change it to circle. Now if we run this, what will happen? Let me just finally run it once, so that let's run this area of triangle itself. 3 4 5, perfectly fine. Now let's run the see, every time you make any changes to these functions, run it once so that you know that it is still working correctly. Save code. Yes, so please get very comfortable with this. Now what you can do is you can try out all the programs that you have been writing till now and try to extract out all these functions and put it in a separate file. That's it for now. Bye.